Someone asked me, because I see a lot of Tibetan Buddhists in the hospice, and I met a very nice Tibetan monk, and he kept giving me all these books, so I felt obliged to read. And they are very different. They talk about up to 4 turnings of the wheel, and it's not in the suttas. But to be open, Bhante, this is my little theory. It might well be that the Buddha taught this to the devas because they live so long. So he's telling them, instead of like just enjoying, why don't you be the bodhisattva, because they live so long. And he may have imparted the teachings to the devas, but it can't be meant for us mere mortals because our lives are so short, you see. But that's just my way of looking at it. But it's very different what they say.
It's important to have a good grounding of the suttas. When you have a good grounding and you have good understanding, then only you can tell the difference. If you don't have a good understanding of the suttas, you think maybe it's true.
It doesn't attract one, Bhante. If I had picked up a Mahayana book, I would not be a Buddhist. Because it's so complicated. You get a headache. Sorry, no Mahayanas here. But when you read the Theravadan suttas, it's like quenching a thirst you didn't know you had. You see. It's very beautiful. But when I read the Mahayana, I have great difficulty finishing the book.
It depends on what you read. When I started off, I read Theravada and I read Mahayana. And Mahayana sounded so idealistic, helping everybody, don't be selfish, don't practice for yourself, all these things. Sounded so good. I went to Mahayana for 9 years. And during those 9 years, I saw that some of the monks, they talk about great compassion, when in fact little compassion also they don't practice. Saying is one thing, practicing is another. And the reason they cannot practice it is because they never cultivate themselves. They look down upon cultivation. They say, Siu Sing, cultivation is selfish. Zhi Liao Han. So they only do, but because they don't cut the greed, hatred and delusion, they cannot progress. Well, the mind is very cunning, We can make excuses, we can think we want to benefit people and all these things, but actually you're benefiting yourself.
When they're doing the bodhisattva, so everybody is looking, it can be seen.
Yeah.
Bhante, how do you get good grounding of the sutta? If you read sutta translated by someone, then your understanding is actually influenced by the author who translated. How do you know that you're getting good grounding?
How can you see your translation is influenced by the author? Because these authors, they translate word by word according to the meaning. Be careful of the notes. Read the suttas, don't read the notes. Notes are only opinions. So like sometimes I read the suttas, I find that certain translations are not very clear. When it's not very clear, you look into the Pali dictionary, look for the word, and then try to figure, think carefully how it fits in. The problem with sometimes some translators, they do put in an opinion, but generally it's not their own opinion. They go wrong sometimes when they follow the opinion of the commentaries. Sometimes the word literally means a certain thing, but they don't put the literal meaning. Instead, they put another meaning which the commentaries have put. That is where they go wrong. So if you find that word they put is not the original word, sometimes they do explain that the literal word means this, but the commentary says this, so therefore they say this. In that case, you have to check the Pali word. And then in that case you'll find, for example, they used to say, Satipatthana is the only way. Satipatthana is the only way. Then when you look at the translation, Ekayana Mago, it's a one-way path. Ekayana Mago means one-way path. I mean, Jalan Sahala, it only goes one way. And that one way is to liberation. Does not go to any other place. But it does not say it's the only way. The only way actually is a Noble Eightfold Path. So you find that Venerable Bhikkhu, people like Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi, when he started off his translations, his early translations were very much based on the commentaries and Abhidhamma. As he translated more and more, he started to change his translation. That's why I think it's important to study a lot of suttas. When you study a lot of suttas, you get a rounder vision. For example, understanding of Satipatthana. A lot of people say, they just echo what other people say. They say Satipatthana Sutta is the most important sutta in the whole of the Nikayas. No, I don't believe so. Why? Because if you read the suttas, you find the Buddha's disciples, they listen to the Satipatthana Sutta, they didn't get enlightened. But when they listen to the Anatta Lakkhana Sutta, many of them got enlightened. Which one is more important? So, the Satipatthana Sutta gives you an understanding of Satipatthana only in that one sutta. But if you read the Satipatthana Sangyutta in the Sangyutta Nikaya, you find so many suttas which explains Satipatthana from different perspectives. Then you get a better understanding, isn't it? For example, you look at Eng Chai from behind. You only see the view from behind. You have to see him better. You have got to come in front, go by the side, and all this thing.
Bhante, is it alright if you read this now or understanding rather than follow the teaching of the tradition?
Over what?
Rather than following the teachings of the teachers of a certain tradition.
Yeah, it's good to read the suttas on your own. If you have a bit of faith in me, then you can listen to my Dhamma talks on the suttas.
In the Mahaparinibbana mentioned that Buddhists should visit the birthplace of Buddha once. Is that written by the Buddha or somebody put it in there?
Could have been put in.
I just cannot reconcile. How can that be told by the Buddha?
Yeah.
Something's not right.
Yeah, there are certain things, for example, in the Digha Nikaya, says when the Buddha was born, he took 7 steps and the lotus came out and he said, I'm the highest and all these things. I also find it hard to believe.
Someone goes on the pilgrimage with faith and then they die during the pilgrimage, they will go to heaven. That is also someone put it.
Yeah, possible. Because in the law of karma vipaka, where we are reborn depends on our karma, isn't it? Depends on our emotion, isn't it?
Bhante, I have a question. Because checking some of the things, you had a talk, you mentioned that the leader of the Sakyan was Vadiya. Where is this sutta?
Vinaya books. It's not in the suttas, it's in the Vinaya books.
And then another one is where in the talk you mentioned that actually the Sakyan is actually under the territory of Kosala.
Yeah.
Is there any mention? Which?
In the Dhammacettiya Sutta, the king Pasanadi, that time he was 80 years old, and the Buddha was 80 years old, and he came to see the Buddha, and the Buddha was in his kuti. So when he went to knock on the Buddha's door, when the Buddha opened the door, immediately he fell on his knees and bowed at the Buddha and kissed the Buddha's feet, and kept kissing the Buddha's feet. And the Buddha asked him, Maharaja, why do you pay so much veneration to this body? Then he started to praise the Buddha. So he said many things in the Dhammacettiya Sutta. So among those things he said was that the Buddha is a citizen of Kosala. I am also a citizen of Kosala. Yeah.
One last one of the story where, I don't know if it's true or not, where Buddha went back to Kapila Hospital. And then Yasodhara asked Yahuda to go and claim the inheritance from the father. Is it in the books?
Yes, that is in the Vinaya books, I think. But that was good because the Buddha then used that to let Rahula go forth. Spiritual inheritance.
Is Bhante aware that there's a fiction of all the suttas? It was posted on the Forest Sangha website, and it's written by, I can't remember who it was. It's a Nobel Prize winner, German, 1917, and he is brilliant. He took all the suttas, all the characters, Angulimala, everything, and he made a novel, and the novel is called Kamitata, and it's in German. And Kamanita, sorry. No, Kamanita. And it's a novel about this fictitious character. And two Thais who saw the book, translated into Thai, and the Thai government uses it for the school as a literary work of art. They didn't realize it was German in origin. And Ajahn Amaro in Amaravati translated it into English. So I read the English version on the internet. It's free. It's available on the internet to be downloaded, and it's called Kama Gita, 500 pages, and it's so charming, Bhante. He dared talk about the Buddha going out, and it's all true to the suttas, and a little bit here and there, but all from the suttas. Very lovely reading. No harm done. Yes.
I think if you understand the value of the suttas, you don't want to waste your time reading 500 pages of fiction. Time is short. Just a few days ago, one of our devotees told me that the nephew's daughter, 21 years old, got cancer. And then about a month and a half ago, the devotee near our place there, the daughter, 17 years old, school athlete, also got cancer. So we don't know what stage the cancer is in our body. Don't waste time.
Bhante, this Devadatta, for many previous life, he has actually hated Buddha and tried to a few times in previous life. So it seems to me that let's say a person that hates another person or try to.
But that is not in the suttas. That is just a speculation by people.
There's a sutta that says that Buddha says that every mountain there is about 500 Vichaka Buddha.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile the fact that Buddha is how these things
No, the Buddha said some time ago. Not during the Buddha's time.
They will be in Nibbana, how to decide the mountain.
No, when they were alive.
They will not get Buddha on the other hand.
No, at that time they are already Pacheka Buddha.
Already Pacheka Buddha, still decided the mountain. Is that possible in Nibbana?
No, they are not in Nibbana, they are alive, human.
What I mean is if they are Buddha, they will attain Nibbana.
No, when they die, they attain Nibbana. When they are alive, they still go and beg for their food.
They have not yet entered Nibbana.
That's it. So from this sutta, you can tell that Pacceka Buddhas are plentiful compared to Sammasambuddha. Because the Buddha said he looked into the past 91 world cycles, which is a very, very long time. He must have spent the whole night looking at it. He only saw 6 Sammasambuddha. Only 6.
Last time you told us only 7 Buddha. But how come they got 28 Buddha? How it come?
That is creation. The Mahayanis created 88 Buddha.
Theravada also they got the 28 Buddha Puja.
Yeah, that is all later created. How? Somebody just cook it up. Easy to cook up.
Promote Pacceka.
Terminology, Nibbana and then Parinibbana.
There are some books that say that these two actually are the same. But now generally, people, a lot of books use Parinibbana for after death. After Buddha dies, then they call it Parinibbana. But actually, Nibbana means the destruction of greed, hatred and delusion. So even when the Buddha is alive, he has attained Nibbana.
Enlightened.
Yeah.
That means if I say, explain Parinibbana as the physical body also go with it, not to...
And nowadays that is the...
I didn't say in Pali, but I know in Chinese there's one sutta called Wei Mo Chu Ji. It's a Wei Mo Chu Ji. Is it really existing now?
It exists in Mahayana Sutras. It's called the Vimalakirti Sutra. In that sutta, they praise the Bodhisattva and they put down the Arahants, put down Sariputta. And when the Buddha was alive, there was a monk who was a disciple of this Devadatta, Tipatato, because they split from the Buddha's Sangha. So when they split off, the Buddha asked Sariputta and Moggallana to go and tell people that whatever Devadatta does after this has nothing to do with the Buddha, no more part of the Buddha Sangha, and that he is not like what he used to be. So Sariputta went around telling the lay people. So the other camp hated him, Devadatta and his disciples hated him. So this one Devadatta's follower called Kokalika, he was always talking bad about Sariputta and Mahamoggallana. So he even went to the Buddha and complained to the Buddha about these two. I said a lot of unpleasant things about Sariputta and Moggallana. And the Buddha told him, don't say that. Moggallana and Sariputta, they are good persons and all that. So he kept saying that. And then after that, his body burst out into, boils. And the balls started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they burst, and then he died. After he died, the Buddha's disciples asked the Buddha what happened to him. The Buddha said he went into a very deep hell. He will be there for a very, 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 very long time. That is the consequence of talking bad about Arahant.
Is there any Arahant in this world now?
I haven't become an Arahant, so I can...
Who is in a position to join the person is an Arahant?
Only the Buddha.
Only Buddha, but Buddha is no more.
Arahants are very hard to find. Some people think they have attained Arahanthood. Anagamins also very hard to find. Some people they haven't even attained the fourth jhana, and they think that they are already anagamin. And the other two is easier to find. Sakadagamin and Sotapanna is easier to find.
For Sotapanna, it is said that the sila is perfect. Is it perfect as in 100%?
Perfect.
Or as a, you don't consciously break the precept.
Okay.
You can actually be sometimes negligent and mindful. And still.
In the suttas, the Buddha says that even an Arya can break minor precepts. It's not that he cannot break. But the Buddha says an Arya, when he breaks minor precept, he does not hide it. It's very frank. Arya is a very frank, straightforward person. But okay, what is Aryan Sila? What is Aryan Sila? When you say Arya has perfect Sila, what is Aryan Sila?
I find precept for a lay person. I think the 2 to 7 is not for the monk is 2 to 7.
So Brother Uy has listened to my talks more than you. I already explained. In the Noble Eightfold Path, 3 factors account for Sila. Right speech, right action, right livelihood. Right speech, there are 4 precepts. Right action, there are 3 precepts. Right livelihood, there are no precepts because it is governed by right speech and right action. So only 7 precepts. So you keep 7. Yeah. So if you keep these 7 precepts well, you're on your way.
These are not minor precepts, right?
Which? It depends. For example, killing precept. If you kill a mosquito, it's minor. It's minor. If you kill yeah. But if you how often do you unintentionally kill?
Sometimes it's itchy, you just it's just
yeah. But if you kill a human being, it's different. So like in the monk's precepts also, in the monk's precepts, in the 227 precepts, if a monk kills a bird, it's considered a minor precept. But if a monk tells a lay devotee to go and take contraceptive pill to abort the baby, that is killing a human being. It's a major precept. So whether it's minor or major depends on what you do.
The monk's precept on the Parajika.
Yeah.
One day I was talking to a few devotees. So it says, monks commit sexual misconduct. They're treated as if they're dead. Then they're going to hell, right? So the lady asked me, what about the lady who's involved with the monk? I said, I wouldn't know about that. What about the lady?
Probably they meet together. The next rebirth. One hand cannot clap, they say. Nowadays there's a lot of this in scandals. The problem is like in Tibetan Buddhism, it is in their books. You read their books, it is part of their practice. When they go higher levels, they say that to become enlightened, you must have this consort, engage in all this tantric Buddhism, which is directly opposite to what the Buddha says in our original suttas. Even during the Buddha's time, there were these naked ascetics, and because when they see each other naked, then their desires arise, then they engage in this sex. And some of the Buddha's disciples also follow. No? And the Buddha scolded them. No? Said, this is the path that leads to hell. No? No more? Come, we can transfer merit? No?